That's what I am. That's what I am. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. Beware the patient woman, 'cause this much I know. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. One of these days are coming, I'm gonna take that boy's crown. There's a serpent in these still waters, lying deep down. To that king I will bow, at least for now. One of these days are coming, I'm gonna take that boy's crown. 'Cause I am a little wicked. I am, 'cause I am. Hands raised, just like you said. I am a little wicked. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. I'll be high up in that tower, he'll be down there getting stoned. Beware the patient woman, 'cause this much I know. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. 'Cause I am a little wicked. I am. Hands raised, just like you said. I am a little wicked. As I lay me down to sleep, I will not scream, I will not weep. If he should die before he wakes, I pray the Lord his soul to take. 'Cause I am a little wicked. I am, yes I am. Hands raised, just like you said. I am a little wicked. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne. No one calls you honey when you're sitting on a throne.
It's Wednesday evening. You're listening to Mystic Moon Cafe with Wendy Schindler and Travis Short. Every week, we will interview guests that are experts in various fields of the supernatural, paranormal, unexplained, and esoteric. So sit back and let us take you on a journey to educate, enlighten, and entertain as we broaden your horizons. Now, here's your hosts, Wendy Schindler and Travis Short. You're listening to Mystic Moon Cafe. The views and opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the network, or our sponsors.
All right, you were listening to The Sky is a Neighborhood by the Foo Fighters, which was a song that caught my attention, and I had to find out who it was, and I had to actually go to the radio station's website and get their playlist to find out who it was.
It caught your fancy.
I know, right?
I'll behave, I'm sorry.
You will not. We know how you are. We all know how you are, mister.
This is true. Very, very true.
Well, a belated happy birthday, Travis. I know yesterday was the day.
It was the day. It was the day in which I was birthed. So, okay. Yeah, I know.
That must be yes. A West Virginia coal mine, that
thing. Birthed? Oh, I'm not from West Virginia. How many times we have to go over this?
Yes, you are. It's Walton's Mountain.
No. Yes, it's all, yes, it was all supposed to be one state, but they didn't go that way. So there's West Virginia, there's Southwest.
I honestly don't remember. For some reason, West Virginia just strikes me, and saying it makes me kind of giggle a little bit, too.
West Virginia strikes me. It doesn't make me giggle, but it strikes me.
I've never been there, so it's one state that I haven't checked off yet. So.
I lived in West Virginia for about 2 years, and that was about 23 months too long.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a fun experience. Some parts of it were fun, but not all of them. Not enough to make it worthwhile.
Your stomping grounds, though, Point Pleasant, is that West Virginia or just Virginia?
No, that's West Virginia. Okay. Yeah, that is West Virginia. I had some great times in Point Pleasant. I really did. Great experiences, great people. I lived in Bluefield, West Virginia, for about 2 years. That was right after my divorce, and the individual, in quotes, that I ended up in a relationship with lived there, so that's where I ended up living. No. No.
Just no.
Just no. Not even gonna address that as a matter of fact. I try to wipe that from my mind on a regular basis as much as possible. Almost as much as I try to wipe from my mind and memory the wonderful birthday present that I gave to myself, which was a great learning experience last night.
Well, tell us a little bit about it there.
Well, and if I had thought, I would have had you brought in some, nice little thoughtful, reflective music while I do this. When you're single.
Wait, do I have violins anywhere in my sound effects?
See if you do. If you find yourself single, and by that I mean having no relational partner,
right.
And you want to take yourself out to dinner, do not go to an hibachi grill / sushi bar, because if you are a single, in quotes, they will not just take you and let you have your own table or your own bar stool or anything. They make you wait to become part of a group, because the hibachi grill is an entertaining experience, and because they go ahead and tack on like a $10 gratuity for every person who sits at the table. They do.
I believe it. I'm not doubting you. Not at all. No, would I doubt you?
No, never. So here I am, and I'm sitting with 9 other people at this hibachi grill, and I'm being my nice, jovial, engaging self, not creepy in any form or fashion, because Wendy has already suggested maybe I was coming on too strong. No, I was just introducing myself. Hi, I am.
And immediately, all of the creep alerts, the shields were up, mister.
Apparently. Now, in hindsight, maybe it was the way I introduced myself. I'm Travis. It's been 30 days since my last...
You were in the wrong venue. Hi, my name is Wendy. Yeah.
Is this a Tuesday? So,
when am I again?
What? Wait, this is Hibachi's Anonymous, right? So, no, but seriously. No, I mean, they looked at me like I was sizing them up to see if I could wear their skin for a suit.
Ew.
I know. So I posted on Facebook, they honestly looked at me like a 22-year-old abducted male looking at John Wayne Gacy dressing up like a clown. It was not a comfortable experience in any form or fashion. So, that was, yeah. And so I placed my order. I had my sushi and I ordered the steak and the shrimp hibachi. And I'm like, can I please have a bottle of sake? And she's like, oh, yes. And so she brings everybody's, drinks. I had, water with lemon and everything. Everybody got their drinks and the food. And about 15 minutes in, I'm like, can you bring my sake, please?
Stat.
This is medicinal at this point. This is not me being social. This is medicinal. She's like, oh yes. So she runs off again, and I'm sitting there, and we've gone through. He's done the flipping of the utensils, and he's started the fire, and the food is made, and we've done our salad, and we've done our soup. And she comes back and says, "Can I please, for the love of God, have my sake?"
For the love of God and all that's holy, feed me, give me sake.
For the love of Buddha, can I have my sake?
Uh-huh.
She's like, oh, I forgot. I go back. It's okay. Thank you. So
now,
she brings my sake.
Samantha Chambers in the chat room is, oh yes, it's my birthday. Who's buying the drinks?
Travis.
And her mother grew up in Tazewell and Bluefield.
Tazewell, yeah, Tazewell, short A. I know.
Okay.
It is short A. It's very interesting in especially in that part of the Appalachians. Mm-hmm. For example, there's a town. I've talked about this. There's a town that is spelled Dante, which if you're a literature fan, that's Dante. Dante's Inferno. Yeah,
yes.
Dante Alighieri. No, it's Dant.
Well, I mean, if you're if you know proper English whatsoever, it's Dante. But okay,
yeah, it's Dant, which is so funny because the people outside of the town pronounce it Dant with a long. But the people who live in the town will correct you and say, no, it's Dant, and I'm going, no, it's Dante.
In Missouri, we have a New Madrid fault line, which is spelled exactly like New Madrid. Only if you're there, you damn well better say New Madrid. Mm-hmm. New Madrid, Missouri. Mm-hmm.
There is a town in Central Virginia, and let's see if I can get it. I got to remember exactly the pronunciation of it because the way it's spelled and the way it's pronounced are two totally different things. What'd you do?
No, I lost my mouse.
Well, it's like in Ohio, there's a town that is on the signs, and I took French in high school and college, and it's spelled Bellefontaine. So my French, wants to pronounce it Bellefontaine. No, it's Bellefountain.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going back a whole lot of years to the French classes, but yeah. Whatever, that's the difference between the educated and the other people,
and the uninitiated. And if you're listening to this show tonight, you damn well better be initiated. You don't have to be educated.
You will be by the time we're done with you. Maybe a little hazing on the side.
Maybe just a little bit. Our guest tonight said he was excited to be on the show. That will change by the end of the show. I guarantee it.
That's right.
Be like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Why am I? it always surprises me when we have reoccurring guests, for God's sakes. Anytime somebody's like, we want to come back on. What? Are you a masochist?
Complete.
Do you enjoy inflicting pain on yourself?
I think they just like having fun and cutting up with us. I'm going to go there.
I think so. I think you're right. Oh, fine. Take all the wind out of it. I was taking it a 50 Shades Darker route, and what do? You turn it into Charlie Brown and the Peanuts Gang.
I shone some light on those shadows.
Wait, I hear
no
Schroeder.
Shades here. No shades here.
I hear Schroeder playing the piano. Although I have to say, one of my favorite memes that I've seen recently are 50 aliens sitting under a shade tree, and it's called 50 Grays in the Shade.
Oh, my God.
I do have to say I like that one.
It is rather humorous.
It is. I thought so.
Oh.
It did make me laugh just a bit. just a teensy bit.
Just a teensy tiny bit there, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Well, yes. I guess we could probably bring our esteemed guest and potential colleague on here shortly.
If he's still in the wings waiting, he may have gone, screw this.
If he's listening, he may have gone, oh, dear God, I didn't drink enough for this episode.
It's Thursday night. Isn't Grey's Anatomy on?
No, but Supernatural was, and they were dealing with, critters.
Critters.
Yeah.
I won't go where I was going to go with that.
Probably best.
Yeah, I think so. I do. So I'm going to give a shout out through the week now. Of course, up until about a month ago, my broadcasts were actually being broadcast from Virginia. You were from Missouri. I actually now have moved through the week. I'm living in Kentucky, and the wonderful folks at the Jenny Whiteley State Resort Park have been kind enough to work out a wonderful extended stay arrangement with me, so that I stay through the week, so that I can be close to work. I'm not driving 3 hours round trip, which is an amazing benefit to me. Mm-hmm. And I've been helping them with their marketing and their PR and their advertising. So I'm just giving them a little plug, giving them a shout out. So if anybody is ever traveling through the eastern Kentucky area, the beautiful mountains of eastern Kentucky, along US 23 north and south, or the Kingdom Come Scenic Parkway, or the Mountain Parkway, Lexington, Kentucky to Huntington, West Virginia, and all points in between, please visit the Kentucky State Park of Jenny Whiteley State Resort Park in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. You can call them at 606-889-1790 if you're interested in booking a room. And I have to say this, the phone's in the room. I actually wish somebody would call me because it has one of those little red lights on top of it, like the old Batman phone on the 60s. And I just want the thing to go off.
Oh, that is too funny. Now, Samantha wants to know, do you feel any more vintage, with the quotation marks around vintage there, since your birthday?
You mean I feel old, Samantha? Yes, I feel old. After work, after being back in the gym for over a year, it had been since I'd been to the gym, and the gym is called No Limits, and those suckers lie because I discovered I have limits. There are things I can't do.
That's right, Samantha. When we come to visit, we got a room, baby.
Yes, please.
Yes. Anyway, yes. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, right?
Well,
that was a very nice. That was a very nice commercial for them.
Thank you,
Travis. That's very well done.
Thank you so much. And that was just off the top of my head. Imagine what I could have done if I'd actually put any thought and work into it.
Well, those are always the most fun.
They are. It's great. Actually, actually this weekend, if you're interested and you're in the area, they're having Buffalo Night. Are there going to
be real buffaloes in the rooms?
There are on plates.
Ew. Okay.
We have bison chili. They're having bison steak, bison carved on the line. They've got two individuals here. One of them is an expert in Native American folklore, dance, and mythology. He's going to be doing a lecture. And then they have another individual. Yes.
Damn.
I know.
They come educated. Does he wear little bison bifocals?
Yes, he does, as a matter of fact. He does. What the hell are you drinking tonight?
I don't know if I misheard or you misspoke. It could go either way.
No, I said there's a gentleman.
A gentleman, okay.
Yes.
I'm
there
sorry,
are
I thought there's going to be, and then I thought I heard Native, I don't know. Apparently I'm just slow.
He's a gentleman he's an expert in Native American mythology, folklore, dance, custom, things like that. And then there's another gentleman who's known as the Cowboy Singer, so he'll be performing all those great songs like Roy Rogers and he was about the only one. Gene Autry, there was another one. Yeah, I was going to say there's somebody else that was a singing cowboy. Who else was it? It had to be someone.
Those guys, Gene Autry, Roy Rogers, the whole
all the great two of them that there were.
And good evening to Cindy McKeon. Miss Casey Tarot is with us this evening.
Good evening, Cindy. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining the chat room. The Peanut Gallery. So we've got Samantha and we got Cindy in the Peanut Gallery.
So far, yes.
So far. Others will join.
If we build it, they will come. If we broadcast it, they will join the Peanut Gallery.
I was going to say, damn it, you're talking about building stuff now. Now I'm going to actually have to do work?
No, well, there's some construction workers there with you at the Jenny Wiley State Park. So
there are. It was funny. I was sitting at the bar last night after I had my very, very awkward dinner. And I'm used to being the only one there because, I mean, it's like staying at the Overlook right now. I'm like the only person here. Ooh. I've actually, in the middle of the night, I've gotten out and walked around carrying an axe, going, all work and no play makes Travis a dull boy. Nobody gets it, but it's funny for me.
Oh, unfortunately, on job sites, after they would figure out my name, then yes, it would be, Wendy, I'm home.
Yeah, exactly. So but I'm sitting there and I got my head down. I'm looking at my phone, and the bartender, she's like, "Another drink?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so did this other guy, and I didn't even know he was there. And I looked up and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm just used to be the only person here." And he's like, "No," he said, "I'm going to be here for 8 months." I'm like, "God, what'd you do to get sentenced to 8 months?"
The life of a traveler.
No, he's like, no, it's a construction crew. They're building a new consolidated high school in one of the neighboring cities, so they're here for 8 months doing the construction work. He's like, oh, I'll be here 5 nights a week, the next 8 months. He said, it could be a year depending on how the weather goes this winter. I'm like, oh, dude, you have no idea.
None whatsoever.
Winter doesn't start here until February, and it can extend till May. So, yeah, you might be here a year.
All right, Travis. You want me to just bring Todd on, or should we play a little music as we're bringing him on, or how would you like to do that this evening?
Why are you asking me?
Well, I thought I'd be nice and ask. I mean, I can let you ramble on and just mute myself.
I'm not rambling. No, what you would do is let me ramble on and mute me while you did the show. I know you.
I can do that too.
I know you can. Let's just go ahead and bring Todd on.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, keep talking then. And
sure.
Would you mind doing the introduction this evening?
Actually, do you have it pulled up? Because I'll have to reopen everything. All I've got open on my computer is Skype.
Oh. Yeah, I can grab it.
You know what? I tell you what. Let's do the song. Give me a chance to get everything opened up, and I'll be more than happy to do his bio and read some stuff about him. It'll just take me a second.
Okay.
When I got in this evening, all I did was open Skype.
Okay. Well, that's the important part.
It does allow for
Samantha's chiming in the chat room again, and it's she's a little mixed nuts as opposed to just peanuts, and then we're gonna make you come here to Kansas City. It's way too much winter out east that way.
Oh, like you all don't have winter right now. I've seen the reports. I've heard.
It's 65 degrees.
It's going to be that here tomorrow. It's like bipolar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's going to be back in the teens on Monday, I think. So, all right. Guys, I'm going to let you listen to The Light by Disturbed while I try to undisturb Travis a moment. We'll be right back after this song. All right, and that was Disturbed, The Light. And we're going to need some lights on for this one. And Travis doesn't realize that he's still muted, so he's continuing on as he is. And and here we are, back with you all again. I hope you enjoyed the song. Good evening, Todd. Thanks for joining us so much.
Hi, Wendy. Hey, Travis. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Am I unmuted? Can I actually talk now, or am I still muted, Wendy?
Speak.
I'm beginning to wonder. Because I really haven't gone back and listened to that many of our shows. I really should see how often I'm muted on these shows. I could be talking my head off, and it's just Wendy and the guest. And
only occasionally, only every now and again.
Wonderful. No, what I was saying was, it was disturbed. Yeah, they weren't listening to the conversation that was going on in the background. Yeah, it was disturbed.
Disturbing, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Oh my God! Well, it is our pleasure to have Todd on the show tonight. This is actually the first time that Todd has been on Mystic Moon Cafe. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Todd because Wendy told me to. Yes, ma'am. And I'm just reading directly from his bio.
Okay.
Chances are that you'll find him in a mysterious abandoned home. Well, at least he's a homeowner. Walls yellowed by age and doors teetering precariously on the hinges. Maybe a murder occurred or perhaps a fire. You need to get a better realtor. I'm just going to say that right now. Whatever the case, Todd Bates is on the scene for a singular task, listening for voices of the dead. Electronic voice phenomenon, commonly referred to as EVP, is a spirit voice captured on digital analog recording. For Todd, collecting this specialized evidence of paranormal origin is a life calling. After years of personally investigating the mysteries of EVP and studying under a pioneering figure in the field, Sarah. Now, is it Estep or Estep?
Estep.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to say Estep is the way it's pronounced here, but we've had Richard Estep on the show, who is a paranormal investigator in Colorado. He pronounces it Estep. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure. He took his passion to the internet. It's in his 13th year. Haunted Voices Radio has quickly grown to one of the most successful EVP-based websites on the internet dedicated to research, education, and discussion. Due to his research and high profile, as a radio talk show host, he has evolved into one of the very few EVP authorities and is in demand to provide advice, education, and EVP analysis to paranormal investigators around the world. The media community has taken notice, with paranormal subject matter finding a regular home in mainstream media. Experts such as Todd Bates are in high demand. He has been featured on Advisor for a Haunting on the Discovery Channel, Sally's House episode. WTHI-TV, CBS affiliate, The Ashmore Experiment two-day event, appeared on WTWO, NBC affiliate. On radio, he's before founding his own radio network, he was a radio host career, began with Dr. Ed Kraft of Magic Mind Radio, an IBC network program. He was offered a co-host spot with Dr. Jimmy Lowry of Alabama Paraspiritual Radio, APSR, and was then given the opportunity to host his own live show on the BBS radio network, where he discussed all topics paranormal. He has since guest on the Man Cow Show, been on that show, and had a couple of clients on that show. So we have that in common as well. WTAY-FM, WTYE-AM, Crawford County, Illinois. WZPL, 99.5, Indianapolis, Indiana. X-Zone Radio, Voice of America, and The Jeff Rentz Show. Each has been a valuable experience to share his vast knowledge of EVP. He's a public speaker. He is a radio show host. He is the owner of a radio network. He is an all-around good guy, and we welcome him to the Mystic Moon Cafe, the Mystic Moon Mafia. And what's the tagline that you've given the Mystic Moon Mafia, Wendy?
The Mystic Moon Mob, the Mystics of Badassery.
Mystics of Badassery, yes. So we welcome you to the show tonight, Todd. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, this is great. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. This is going to be a lot of fun. It is. It's
a 2-drink minimum for the show. So
yeah, trust me. I already caught the cover charge at the door.
The hat check girl's a little rough, but other than that, you're okay once you get into the cafe.
Yeah, she slapped me around a little bit. We got through.
Oh, your background is very similar to mine in a lot of ways, but so varied. I don't even know where to begin, except probably the natural place to start. Mm-hmm. What got you interested in paranormal to begin with?
Well, that's a funny story. I was completely skeptical of everything. I mean, ghosts, no. I never thought they would exist. What got me into it was family talked me into going to this ghost tour. Mm-hmm. And it just sounded like fun, something to do on a Friday night. And okay, let's go. Well, I talked to the guy who was running it, Jason Snyder, and he says, you need to bring a recorder or camera or something. Of course, back then there was no digital recorders. It was just all analog. Right. So I picked up this old GE shoebox recorder, some cassette tapes and batteries and all that, and brought it with on this tour. So we're driving around from spot to spot. Of course, one of the first stops is a cemetery. And then you get the feeling of being out there at night. It's dark and spooky and everybody's looking, flashes everywhere. And then we pull into this old general store in this real small town in Illinois. And everybody just runs to this general store. And, of course, he's telling the story. There was a robbery that took place. Somebody was hurt. And everybody's standing at that store. The cameras start going off. People start talking. I don't know what came over me, but I just walked back to this barn by myself. Of course, no one followed me. Why is the idiot going to the barn? With this recorder, and I just sit down, hit record, and start talking to thin air. Asking common questions. Is anybody here? Can anybody talk to me? Blah, blah, blah. Going through the common questions. Didn't hear a thing. And of course, we finished the tour. We go to a haunted bridge. Of course, every town has a haunted bridge. And went there, and the tour's complete. And I've got my little recorder, and I go home. And he had told me how to upload it to the computer using a patch cable. So I put it on this computer program. Back then it was called Cool Edit. It's called Adobe Audition now.
Yes.
So I put it through Cool Edit and hit play, and I'm just listening to the whole thing. Lo and behold, that first area, that barn, I recorded a horse, of all things. And I didn't hear a horse, but you distinctly hear the... it's just, and it was, what in the world? And it wasn't that I heard the horse that startled me. It was, why didn't I hear that with the naked ear? So I'm just kind of sitting back thinking, okay, doing a little mental check. And that's what drove the obsession, was I wanted to find out and figure out why I could hear that on that magnetic tape, but I couldn't hear it with the naked ear. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that was back with dial-up. You dial up to the internet.
Oh, my God. I just had a flashback of that sound. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. After 20 minutes and 2 pots of coffee, I connect to Internet Explorer. And then, I'm looking around for information. And back then, they didn't have Facebook or MySpace or anything. It was just these forums, these chat forums. And AAEVP was actually on there. And that's where I found Sarah Estep. Mm-hmm. And so I emailed, okay, what is this? Why am I hearing this? I don't understand. So she takes me under her wing and teaches me this and tells me this and tells me to do this instead of this. And so from that point forward, I became obsessed. And that was the problem. I dove in with both feet, going everywhere I could to record these voices. And recorded a lot of them. And I don't think I'll ever stop. I mean, I took a little break for a while, but it's something that I've always had a passion for.
So,
go ahead, Travis.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, where have you done your investigations and your EVP sessions at?
Well, it all started where I'd say I got the most and learned the most in the research itself was at an old Quaker schoolhouse in it's not even there anymore. They had to burn it down due to liability reasons, but it was one of those old one-room schoolhouses. Mm-hmm. And there was, and the owner of it, he was completely skeptic. He was an old Quaker himself, and he was just completely skeptic. and said, "Sure, yeah, go ahead and go in there, and you go in there and you find them ghosts." It's just so this old schoolhouse. It was just amazing at the activity and the electricity in there. You could just feel it. So that's where a lot of little experiments took place. It's where we captured some photographs, videos. One of the videos we captured, it had both, the video evidence and the audio evidence on there. It was one of those where we were pointing the camera through the window, and all of a sudden, of course, you don't see it with the naked eye or hear it, but we do still have it on VCR tape of all things. If you have one of those players, none of these things have been converted or digitalized at all. They're sitting in a tote, in storage. But with it, pointing it through there, you could see this ball of light. Now, of course, back then I thought it was dust. This was a ball of light that came out, and then another ball came out after it on the video. Now, when you play this back on the tape, when the first ball comes out, you hear a little girl say, "Hey," and then after the second one comes out, you hear another voice say, "Hey, Daddy." It was like they were picking them up from school or something. It was just obviously something residual,
right?
But it was just crazy seeing. So that was one of the areas where we had our interaction with the children's spirits, which are kind of eerie.
Yeah, dead kids are creepy. I don't.
Yeah, dead kids are.
They are.
Yeah, that's right, Travis. They're just creepy.
They are.
It's one of those things where you get it and you're like, why does this kid sound so happy? His dad.
No.
But they're always so chipper and very energetic, very clear. But
yes, it's not right.
No, it's not. It reminds me of that creepy Gage kid on Pet Sematary.
Yes.
Oh, Lordy, yeah.
Yeah. No.
But from what I found is those are the most clear voices that I've captured are those from children. Mm-hmm. And it has to be because of their energy.
I was getting ready to ask you, do you think it's because they're so young and vibrant and their life force is so strong at that point?
I do. And I think it's because when they did cross, their minds were wide open. Mm-hmm. They weren't closed-minded like we are.
Right.
Their minds were wide open. So maybe they go over there and they have all the tools, everything, all the instructions they need. And we're just sitting here baffled and confused because we've been raised to be closed-minded. So we don't know what the hell's going on.
The kids are playing games. Hey, watch us. We'll get these guys going here.
Yeah, but that's where a lot of these things happen, was at that little schoolhouse. And that's where I learned a lot of the do's and don'ts. Of course, you make a lot of mistakes in this field. You've got to screw up so you can learn. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But that little schoolhouse, we researched that for several years and moved on to another one where I got the most disturbing and creepiest residual capture that I have to date. I used to have it up on the website, Haunted Voices, of course, before all the radio stuff hit. Right. The reason that came about, that was just for training purposes, teach EVP lessons and things. But I had it up there, and people were so frightened by it, they asked me to take it down. It was it is funny how you mentioned the Mafia earlier, because this was this was a Mafia hit by his name was Whitey Hampton. And he's long gone by now, but he was put in jail for this. But what had happened at this home, and I had no clue, there was a mother and her two kids were home. Now, the father, Ben, or I can't remember his last name, he was in the mob, and he owed him money. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, of course, there's a hit put out on him. They couldn't find him. He took off somewhere, left his wife and kids alone, all this. Well, apparently this Whitey, this contracted a hitman, goes to the home to take out his wife because they can't find him, so they're going to take his wife out. He had no idea the children were at home, obviously. So what he did is he beat his wife to death with a baseball bat.
Oh, wow.
A couple of things. Beat her to death with a baseball bat. The two children, of course, they hear the struggle, and according to witnesses that heard the whole thing, the kids came out, and then, of course, he had to take them out.
Wow.
He set the entire house on fire, and it burnt to the ground. Just the foundations left over.
Wow.
Now, what I recorded on the front porch, I just set the analog recorder down, hit record, and sat right there. And it was a little windy out, but it was a residual. You can hear the mother scream, and then you can hear the swoosh. It was almost as if that was just embedded in that the bedrock, the limestone of that home. This residual, you could hear the actual murder. It's eerie. It is disturbing. And those kids were found in the closet of all places. He put them in the closet, and they were still holding hands. It was awful.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that taught me that residual energy is strong. It is something that it's just a record playing over and over, but it's strong and it still stays there. And it was just in that foundation like a sponge, and it just seeped out. And we were just at the right place at the right time. But that was on the front porch of all places. Awful.
Absolutely horrible. Now, you mentioned something, and I'm just asking this as someone who has a passing interest in paranormal investigation. I've never billed myself as a paranormal investigator. I'm more of a paranormal researcher. I enjoy researching things. But you mentioned early on the two balls of light in the one, in the child's voice, and then "Hello, Daddy" and things like that. And I have to ask, what's your take on the prevalence among many paranormal investigators of the orb phenomenon and photograph?
That is my favorite question. This segment brought to you by Pledge.
Well, I had to ask it because you brought up two balls of light.
No, you are. And that's why I called it that, Travis, a ball of light, is because there's oh my goodness, it is awful out there. So many, especially with today's cameras, the dust and the way that they're captured because of the lens refraction, the whole 9 yards. Everybody thinks it's it's not. It's dust. Mm-hmm. A spirit orb, or a ball of light. The difference between the two is if you look at it, dust is going to have squares basically. When you zoom in, you'll be able to see the pixelated squares in the dust. It'll have a little circle with a solid circle in the center. Normally, the little dust mites, you can even, those as well. Mm-hmm. So the way to tell a spirit orb from dust is the way it moves. Dust floats. A spirit orb is going to dart. It's going to have its own motion. It's going to have its own essence, its own life.
But now the way little buggies will do that too, though.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that is why with video, with photographs, you have to look, because you can tell. I mean, a bug as well. I mean, great point, Wendy. You could see a bug, but you could see the bug's wings. You could see the bug's legs. And if it's in motion, you can actually see the shape of the bug. If you have a good video editing software, you could see that. A lot of people will take time to go in there and edit it, but some just assume, and we all know where that leads us.
Oh, yes.
So with a ball of light, that's exactly what it is. It's a ball of light, and they're rare. I mean, doing this a long time, I've only witnessed 2 instances where, and they were both on video. None of the cameras captured them. If you notice with digital cameras, all of a sudden this orb phenomenon just takes off. Mm-hmm. Oh, but you didn't hear about it. You didn't hear about it with the old SLR or film cameras.
Right.
Polaroids, because they were non-existent. It's the way it's captured. It's the way the digital, the SLR part, the chip, captures the image to where the film camera, it's just like it's light being burnt onto a film. So you don't have that that mistake. You don't have that orb phenomenon. So that's what took off. But these were balls of, in my opinion, okay, I'm far from an expert. This is my opinion. But when you have a ball come out and it comes and shoots down toward the ground, almost as if it's walking through and then walking downstairs or something. And then you hear a voice right after, and then you see another ball of light come out, hear a voice after. One backs up the other.
Very true. Very
so
true.
When you have, I just think the dust orb phenomenon, it is a field in itself.
Yes.
It is just, that's why I always preferred film over digital.
I've heard that opinion several times from people who I respected a little more than the average Joe.
Yeah. Now that begs. I'm sorry, I was going to say, but that begs a question. When it comes to EVP, do you prefer digital or cassette recording?
Cassette. I will go analog all day long. Now, I remember when digital recorders first came out. I won't get into model numbers, but these were actual metal recorders. RCA made them. Mm-hmm. These were real metal. It wasn't plastic. Yeah. And that's when I first used it, and it sounded awful. It sounded horrible. Now, with the analog, sure, you have that wispy
white noise, that kind of
white noise behind it, but the EVP that were captured on that magnetic tape or microcassette recorder, if anybody remembers those, they were more clear, more prominent than a digital. Now, you may get more on a digital, but they're not going to be as clear. They won't sound as well. And they're not going to be as vocal. They both record differently, obviously.
Right.
My belief, my theory with that is with the magnetics, that's how it's recorded. It rubs against that magnetic head, static electricity, sticks to it like glue.
Right.
So I feel that it's easier for them to communicate even without a microphone. I've actually tried that experiment at 3 locations, disconnected the microphone, and still captured voices. Now, they stick to it, in my opinion. Now, with the digital recorder, that records with samples. So, depending on what sample rate you use, it could be low, and you take up more space or less space, or you use high quality and take up more space. But it's just it's a tinny sound. It's just not as clear. Now, with today's recorders, you have all your task cams and all these zooms and whams out there.
Yes.
And they, you have the USB now, and they plug it into the USB port, zip it up there. Just think how much evidence they're losing, because that's what it does. It's all ones and zeros. So it puts it up there, and I think they're losing evidence. They're not gaining anything. Oh, wow, I've got 6 gigabytes of audio on here. And they upload it in 2 seconds. Something's missing.
Right.
Something's missing. But if you sit there and use, and they're so common these days. Back then you had to order them. The audio patch cables, which are the same thing that they look like little headphone jacks on both ends. You can get them at any department store has them now. You plug one end into the headphone jack, the other end into the line in port, or even the headphone jack on your computer, and you hit play and record it. And that's not a digital signal. It's an analog signal going to your computer. So you're going to hear that. You may hear a hum, little ground loop noise, interference, but that's raw audio coming from that recorder to the machine. It's not going through the ones and zeros system. So you're going to get your raw audio. You're going to get everything on there. So to me, that's the safest way to transfer it. So that's why I like it analog over digital.
That makes sense. It really does. What about video? Now, you're an expert, recognized expert in EVP, but what about video phenomena?
Video's tough. And it's still tough for me to process now. I'll process the audio from it all day long.
Right.
The video aspect of it, what's hard for me is the infrared. You know, you have the night vision, you have all of these different lighting systems, especially these days, the infrared extenders. Now they're ungodly. It makes a whole room lit up like daylight. So Lord only knows what you're highlighting in there. Mm-hmm. You could be, disturbing dust, kicking it up, and these things. So you have to really be careful when it comes to especially infrared video, because you get so many false positives. But video, I like over photography, especially digital photography, because it's harder to manipulate it.
Right.
You can tell when somebody pastes something into a video. Now with Photoshop, it's a little different. Mm-hmm. You can kind of dupe somebody with it. So I think video would be more credible. But the good thing about video as well is you have the audio with it to back it up if something does come across.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you see, obviously in the past decade and a half, there has been a move by paranormal investigators to entirely digital investigation. Do you think that's going to swing back to an analog form of investigating?
That's a great question. And it has moved to digital because it is cost effective. Mm-hmm. That's this field is not known for money. Okay.
Right. Yeah. The expense out.
Yeah.
But not making it.
No.
Exactly. It can get very expensive. The tapes, especially, they're few and far between to come by, but they are still out there. But the digital movement, I think, I hate using this word, millennials.
Use it away.
They like the instant gratification.
Yes.
They have no patience. Researchers today, the new researchers coming into the field, especially those taught by television, they have no patience. And they like the digital. It's portable. It's cost efficient. But they don't understand the difference between the two because very few of them have ever used one. A cassette recorder, let alone a reel-to-reel recorder, which is how these were discovered to begin with. And my theory is, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. We haven't even scratched the surface on how these voices are captured on magnetic tape, or, look at Edison back in the day. He was trying to contact his mother. He tried building a telephone to the dead. Right. This is just now coming out, a few years back. So we haven't even scratched the surface on that yet. And they're getting the Tascam 5000 and going out there with a microphone so sensitive, you're picking up, animals in Montana, wolves howling, for crying out loud. It's so sensitive. Mm-hmm. It's false positives everywhere. You can't call that credible when you have a microphone that sensitive. It's impossible. Right. They have the dishes pointed out. They're why try to get something a mile and a half down the road when you have something right there in front of you? I don't understand why you have to have all this technical equipment. Keep it simple. Get you a notepad and a simple analog recorder. Try it, and go out there. That's how the pioneers did it. That's how it was brought to this country. That's how they did it overseas. And if they had digital recorders back then, I don't think they would have used them, honestly, because the sound is so poor.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Again, I'm old school.
Well, but I think, there is a place for old school. The radio stations that I manage here, the owner is very old school, and we go back and forth about the editing of commercials. And, everything is done digitally now. But even when I started 25 years ago, I was recording my commercials on reel-to-reel. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to cut and splice and edit, I literally had to cut and splice and edit. That's where those words come from. People don't understand that. It was physically cutting the reel-to-reel tape and splicing it and taping it over and connecting. But even, and I remember even into the 2000s, ad agencies were still sending their commercials on reel-to-reel because it's hard for people to believe, but it is a higher quality production in that analog format.
It is. It is, and I could not agree with you more. And it's nice. It is, oh my goodness, it is so nice to talk to somebody that understands what a reel-to-reel is, because so many do not. And I mean, I've learned to face facts that it is moving to the wayside. Digital is coming in. It is fast. It is efficient. And if they can, because I cannot, it's just something that I'm not going to jump into. So if they can perfect digital and capture these voices and have them be credible, more power to them. I want to leave that up to that generation, because I'm stuck in magnetic land. And that's what I enjoy. And that's what I'm going to use, because it's fun. It's fun. It's a way you can go out and you've got, less is more. You've got your little recorder, got common sense, and you just go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That seems to be a purchase commodity these days. I mean, it's
exactly.
They didn't even put that on the stock market. But it's if people would just keep it, they're making it too complicated. Sarah Estep years ago taught me. She was a preschool teacher, for crying out loud. She developed this class A, B, and C system that we use to this day. She developed that. ABCs, simple. And she preached to me over and over and over not to complicate this, to keep it simple. Ask questions, talk to them like you would want to be talked to. Simple things like that. Not all these different pods and nets and, geez, are we hunting these things, or are we trying to figure out if there's life after death? You see these researchers with all this different equipment. If I was dead and they brought that in my world, I'd be terrified. I don't know what all that stuff is. They just need to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, does it make sense, Wendy?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Completely. I don't even know where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
She got sidetracked. She got choked up.
I'm all emotional now.
She's all emotional. Oh, look what you did. God, look what you did.
She's feeling verklempt.
She is. Oh, my God. What did you do to my co-host? No. Well, there two things that you said sparked two different lines of questions with me, or one comment, one question. You were talking about everything's moving digital. I did see an actual article. I think it was in Billboard magazine. Of course, the digital version, of course. But that I think it was Virgin Records UK had seen an increase in the production of vinyl records.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually heard that in the like the blues community right now too. Yeah. They're trying to go to vinyl.
And it's like part of it is people are wanting to be quote unquote retro, and the other part of it is they are discovering that the sound quality is better than CD or downloadable.
Yeah, because you have that. I mean, nothing beats the sound of an old record. You could throw a CD in there, and when you pause, you hear nothing. It's complete silence. Mm-hmm. With a record, when it's done,
exactly.
I mean, and you have that background noise with it when you're listening to it too. To me, it sounds richer, just like a cassette tape. Back in the day, you'd go to when a new album came out, you'd run to get the latest cassette.
Oh yes.
And it just, you can't sit there and, let's listen to that again. You have to completely rewind the thing. It's not, you don't hit a track number and here goes the millennials. What? You got a what?
You also have to make up your own words to the song if you can't understand them.
Yeah, and they did. They had their own distinct sound, just like recording. It's the same thing. And the magnetic tapes, you could still find them. The cassette recorders, the department stores still sell them. I think the favorite one in blue, that one has them like $20. Mm-hmm. They're like $20, and they've got you've got your different levels of cassette tapes. That Walmart sells one level, which is called a normal bias. Then the best one to record with would be your high bias, and Maxell sells those. You can find them online, Amazon. I call them gold bars. You know, that's what I nicknamed them. They're right. they're great to record with. They're high quality. You record on one side. I know it's kind of a waste of money, but if you think about it, it's not. It's because when you capture something on one of those, it stays there. Mm-hmm. It's there. You're not going to accidentally have a hard drive crash and it's gone.
Exactly.
It stays there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I can see more with digital cameras as opposed to the film ones. I mean, I know, the quality is much better with the film, but the expense to have them processed is just ungodly these days. So, that's kind of, you have to do that balancing act. Which do you want more?
That's a good point. Film, mm-hmm. Digital, as far as photography, digital is the way to go. I mean, it's rough, but film is expensive. Cassette tapes, they're expensive. Yep. Your old, even the old high 8s, the old Sony high 8 camcorders, those are expensive, and it is an expense to do it that way. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's why everything was converted. So they're getting harder and harder to find. So now it's time that another generation takes over that digital and tries to perfect it.
Go for it, kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I can say is get your Tascam 10,000s, get out there, get those microphones that'll tune in Tokyo, get those things, get out there, perfect them. Mm-hmm. But don't forget where it all came from. Don't forget about the pioneers that started all of this, because you wouldn't know what to do without them. That's where people have to understand is you can't forget where you came from and where all this came from. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
Now, one point that my friend June Nixon, she works with the Spooked in Seattle group, Ross Allison and a whole bunch of other guys that are theoretically pretty, knowledgeable in the fields, but
did you just say theoretically knowledgeable?
Yeah. Well, they are knowledgeable, shade? But how professional? It's the unknown. How much of a professional can you be?
Okay, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
specialized. Yeah.
Yes, special. There we go. That's a better word. I like that. But she said that in the so-called orbs and the balls of lights and things that everybody always wants her to look at, she goes, you have to look for one that is radiating its own light, not simply reflecting it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. She is 100% correct, because it has its own life.
Yep.
And the theory behind a spirit orb, mm-hmm. and I love this, and I would love to see the complete transition of one of these, but a true spirit orb, I mean, if you think about it, it's a perfect sphere, which is the easiest mm-hmm. way for any form of energy to travel, is a perfect sphere. Mm-hmm. So if you have a spirit orb, and this is just a theory, I mean, I've never seen it, maybe someone else out there has, but in theory, a spirit orb transitions into a mist, which is the second stage. Mm-hmm. And the final stage would be the apparition, whether it be partial or full-bodied. So you have it coming into this dimension or realm, wherever we are, as a spirit orb, in the easiest way to travel to this area. Then it starts to manifest into a full-bodied apparition, which would be the final stage, most energy. Usually when that happens, the ones that I've witnessed, and I've witnessed two full-bodied that are show-stopping, to say the least.
I don't have the nerve for it. I don't want to see a full-bodied apparition.
It is... I can't use the word frightening, because it's an emotion that only you can feel when you see it. Sure. Then you'll never forget what that emotion is. Mm-hmm. But it's shocking. But it's one of those things where once you do witness that full-bodied manifest, you're going to do one of two things: stand there like a deer caught in headlights, or run. Mm-hmm. One of those two things. It's going to be fight or flight.
Yep. Exactly.
There's no gray area. There's no gray area. That's all I could say. And I was a deer caught in headlights.
Well, I was going to say, now that begs the question. You said you were a skeptic when you started out. So what the hell did you think when you listened to those EVPs the first time?
That's when I became obsessed. I thought, okay, this sound, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. I didn't see anything. I didn't smell anything. There was no sense, nothing. It was just crickets, literally. And then you hear this, and then I hear these voices. I didn't see my first apparition. That was 2 years after that.
What year was this, by the way? I'm sorry.
That was 2001.
Okay.
And I saw that in an old schoolhouse. That old schoolhouse, the little boy I saw. And then the second apparition that I've ever seen was in the Sally house in Atchison, Kansas. The little Sally. That was horrifying.
You saw Sally herself. Okay.
The little girl. Yeah, that was a collective apparition. All three of us in the kitchen saw it at the same time. And, of course, after we saw that, we had no choice. We had to exit the building because the energy...
Fortunately, it's a short walk.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't run. We just went across the street. We didn't run. It was one of those things where
you just had to collect your thoughts, right?
you couldn't breathe. Mm-hmm. It was so thick. It became so thick in there, and you can almost sense when something like that's coming on. Either some kind of sound or what I like to call phantom furniture. If you're hearing rumbling, maybe in the floor above or below you. Mm-hmm. When these kinds of things happen, you feel it. It's real thick and heavy, and you literally can't breathe. And then it smells almost like burnt air. That's the best way I could describe it. I don't know what burnt air smells like, but it smells like that.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, you've never used a curling iron? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like it's just it's the static. Mm-hmm.
That burnt ozone kind of smell.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Great way to explain it. When lightning strikes, that smell when you're close. That's exactly what it smells like when something like that manifests. What it does, and it gets cold. Reason being is that thing, the heated molecules in the air, that contains the most energy. Those things are bouncing around. They're crazy. They're upset. Mm-hmm. So that thing sucks all that energy in. So that's hence the cold spot. Now, I feel when it leaves, it gets very warm in that area, hence the hot spot, because they can't take with them what they captured here. So if they used, is my opinion, of course, they use these molecules, the energy from this realm, when they exit back, they leave it. And that makes it that you have a hot spot just as much as you do a cold spot.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I've noticed these things happening before you capture a voice, before some photographs are captured, video, before you witness an apparition, even a crisis apparition. People that just had a past loved one. Those are the most common. They appear right there. It's almost a closure or, a way of saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. So these things, you hear these reports of people smelling that same smell or feeling that same tense heaviness. It's not like an evil thing. It's just a tense heaviness before something like this happened. So it's amazing how it all works out. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where it's a personal experience too. So you may be with some people that see it with you. You may not. They may think you're nuts. But it's not our job to prove, the existence of it. We're just trying to find a way to get through it. Everybody wants that question answered. Is there life after death? They're trying to do it, trying to figure it out.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, you said something early about your mentor, telling you, just talk to them the way you want to be talked to. So when you are investigating and you are trying to get or entice a spirit to do the EVP, what type of conversation do you have? How do you enter into and engage a spirit in conversation to get an EVP?
What I try to do is open it up by explaining what I'm doing. They may be from a period and they don't know what that piece of equipment is. So I'll point to it. Say, we're trying to capture your voice. We want you to speak with us. You can speak with us using this device right here, and I'll literally point to it. You can imprint yourself. You can talk into it, whatever you like to do. And then I go into the simple question and answer format. Can you tell us your name? And I wait. I'll do a 1/1000 until I hit, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Give a good 10-second space. 20 seconds is better in between each question because it has to take some time. It may take time just for our voice to reach them or their voice to reach us. It could be pillars and pillars and pillars away, and then it takes them pillars to come back. Right. Kind of like a sonar. They just have ping. So with that, you keep the question simple. Don't say what's E equals MC squared. You're going to confuse the hell out of them.
Well, it sounds like a mathematical formulation to me, but
yeah,
just confuse the hell out of me.
Yeah, they're like, who the hell's Einstein? These people could be back from the, who knows?
Exactly.
But we see. And keep them simple. Colors, people understand colors, numbers, things. These are things that have been around for quite a while. So you ask simple questions, but you do a little bit of homework on the property at first because you try to contact the individuals that may have lived there. So I'll do some research. When I was in this real heavy, I would go to the clerk's office in any county. You can go to one of these, and for $10, you can get what's called the abstract of the property, and it tells you everybody that owned it. Because the haunting or the who you're speaking with, just because it's an old creepy house doesn't mean it's haunted. Exactly. Newer homes, those are more apt to be haunted than any old, decrepit-looking home because it's tied to the land.
Okay, and that I have to ask you a question about. Because about 8 years ago, I had a friend who was living in a single-wide trailer in a trailer court in this very, very beautiful, scenic, country setting. And she and her sons went away for the weekend. She said, "I want you to stay and house sit." She said, "because there's some weird stuff going on."
Okay.
And she knew my interest, and so I did. I stayed for the weekend, and it was a single wide trailer. But I distinctly heard several things in the middle of the night. But one of the things that I heard in the middle of the night that I still could not explain was the sound of footsteps running overhead.
Interesting.
Phantom furniture.
Mm-hmm.
It is a single wide trailer sitting on a piece of land. There is no second floor. there is nothing. But yet I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps running overhead. So unless someone was running on top of this damn trailer in the middle of the night.
Depending on your location of it.
It could happen. It could. This was in Virginia, not West Virginia, Wendy. But so that brings me to my question: can you get audible EVPs of a piece of land, not necessarily the structure that you're in? The structure itself may not have a residual, but the property may.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. It is. I have captured an EVP at that schoolhouse, for example, when it was completely gone. There wasn't even anything there, and there's still children. You still capture the voices. What you probably heard was residual, the phantom movement, the residual movement from a home that may have been there prior to that was a 2 or 3 story home back in the day.
Which I discovered because I did do the research on the land, a farmhouse had stood there.
There you go. And that's residual, what you heard, the phantom furniture. It's common, and I can only imagine. I mean, I probably would have wet the bed myself, but having something like that, because it came out of nowhere.
It did, and it was actually a very interesting location, because not only was there that residual, but the other thing that I woke up to was this, fist pounding on the bedroom door. And I'm the only person there. And it's this boom, 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 and it woke me out of a dead sleep. And I laid there in bed for a second going, did I dream that? And then it was, boom, boom, boom. And then it stopped. And then I heard this sound of something being dragged, that very distinct dragging sound. And now, again, the friend that had told me nothing other than that she had heard weird sounds. She didn't give me any details when I stayed there.
Somebody was killed. You're hearing pounds and thuds.
But
well, actually,
it was a polite killer that knocked on the door first.
It knocked on the door first. It's like, so here's the thing. Don't open the damn door.
That's right,
Don't let them in. No,
Lock
actually,
the door.
It was one of those very bizarre things. What it was there was a gentleman who he and his wife and 2 children had lived there. He had been hurt in a mining accident. My father actually had worked with him. This is what I found out as I did the research on the land and the names that were associated with it. My father had actually worked with this gentleman in the coal mines. He had a roof collapse. The mining roof collapsed on him, had crushed one side of his body. He dragged that side of the body when he walked.
Oh, man.
So there was this, he would drag the left side of his body. The left arm, the left leg had been totally crushed. He would just drag when he walked. What had happened, he had a violent temper. One day, he sat his wife and his children down on a love seat.
Oh, boy.
He sat on the couch across from them. He pulled out a gun and blew his brains out.
Oh.
In front of them?
In front of them.
Wow.
Whoa.
They left. The wife and the sons left.
Yeah, that would have been my move too.
Yes.
Definitely pre-Prozac.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But what I discovered is the room that I was staying in had been their room.
Oh, my.
And she would go there and lock herself in his violent outbursts.
Pounding.
The pounding on the door.
Yeah, I'm going to use the word dude.
Yes.
That is creepy.
The dragging sound.
Yes.
The dragging sound was him leaving when she wouldn't open the door. That was him dragging his side of the body. And so there was that, and then there was the footsteps overhead. And this was, and I'm going, there's not enough wine, there's not enough scotch, there's not enough vodka in the world. And this was one weekend, and all of this happened in the course of all of this happened in the course of one night. And I walked out the next morning, and I had left some books and my briefcase in the living room, and they were all in places that I had not left them. They were all over the place. I mean, they were just like scattered everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, I was like, okay. So she and her sons came back. She was like, "What do you think?" I said, "I think you got a fucking problem." Well,
if you think about it, that's what made the residual imprint. The energy was so massive during that.
So traumatic.
It stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And another classic example of that, cemeteries.
Yes.
A lot of these people, they want to run to a cemetery, stand over a grave with a recorder, and say, "Why are you dead?"
I never get anything but peaceful feelings from cemeteries. I would love to know the stories. I'm drawn to them, but I've never taken any equipment and gone, "Hey, Uncle, Fred, what's going on?"
If you think about it, you're at a cemetery. Mm-hmm. You have the corpse in the coffin, obviously very quiet. Okay.
Yep.
And
hopefully,
you have the family around this area at the funeral, around the corpse, sobbing, crying, massive emotions coming from the living, not the dead. He's not in there going,
oh, come on, guys. Okay, the joke's over.
He's not in there doing that.
right?
Yep.
He's getting. They are gone. So I think the voices picked up, the things picked up in cemeteries are just old recordings from the living, weeping and screaming and
Very possible.
Yes.
dropping to their knees, sobbing, not from the guy in there going,
Come on, seriously.
Right.
Yes.
So, and like you said, they're peaceful.
Usually, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have yet to be in a cemetery that wasn't peaceful, in all honesty. And I've toured cemeteries in New Orleans. I've toured cemeteries in Charleston and Savannah, all over Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee. I mean, there's always a peaceful feeling. Hell, the town that I lived in when I was married, our house bumped up against a cemetery, rolling hills, and a road that ran all the way through it and serpentine there. I used that. I mean, I don't. This may be disrespectful. I don't think it was, but I would jog it.
Oh,
No, that's not disrespectful.
pretty common, I think.
I would jog it. It was peaceful. It was a nice incline. It was a good workout. And I didn't have to worry about anybody because nobody came there. I mean, unless there was a funeral going on, I never had to worry about bumping into anybody else.
Oh,
It was and I enjoyed it. But I'm also one of those people. I enjoy visiting like my family's cemeteries and having conversations. I'll sit down and talk to my deceased relatives and I don't think there's anything wrong or weird about that.
no, not in any way, shape, or form.
It's almost healthy, honestly.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I go. I haven't in a couple of years, but I used to go on a fairly regular basis to the cemetery. Both my maternal grandparents and two of my maternal aunts are buried there, and then a couple of cousins. And I would go and just walk and sit and talk and update them and tell them, what was going on and tell them how much I missed them. And it was cathartic. It was this wonderful opportunity to kind of vent. And it was almost like seeing a therapist because I could even tell them things that were going on in my life that I couldn't tell the people who are living because the living judge, the dead really don't. They don't really have, they don't really pass judgment.
Fear
exactly. Exactly.
No, and you're right. Cemeteries are very calm, peaceful.
Yes, they are.
And they've been stereotyped. They really have, because when you think death, that's the first thing you think of is a cemetery. That's where they're at. And then you think spooky. Then you think full moon. Then you think bats. You think ghosts flopping around. No, I mean that's the last place. That's the last place I would want to go. Is some I wouldn't want to hang out at some cryptic tomb. If I was a true spirit, which I feel there's a difference between the two, between a ghost and a spirit. A ghost would be like what you witnessed, Travis, at the house. That would be a ghost.
A poltergeist, a ghost, or something.
A poltergeist is a little different. Poltergeist, human.
Okay, well, let's do that real quick. Let's differentiate the different types of paranormal presences: ghost, residual, poltergeist. Okay. How do you define them? How do you describe them?
Okay, what you experienced in that single wide trailer, which you found out used to be a farmhouse, that would be a ghost or a residual haunting.
Okay.
There's no intelligence. There's no.
I concur. It's just a repeat, a rinse and repeat, basically.
Yep, that's all it is. Is a constant ball of energy spinning around and around and around in that same area. You were just at the right place at the right time to grab it.
Okay.
A spirit is intelligent. It has crossed. It has been there and back and able to go back and forth. Has its own essence, its own life. It as in life, as in death, I believe. Okay. It has its emotions. It's intelligent. If you, for example, the apparition at the Sally house was intelligent. When I looked at it, it looked at me and us. Mm-hmm. So it was intelligent. So that is a spirit. Mm-hmm. A poltergeist, now this is strictly my opinion, but, you know, when you have cabinets flying open at the same time, dishes flying out, chairs sliding across the room, that's a lot of energy. That is a lot of bound up energy that I don't feel the other side, the other realm is capable of doing. I think that is something we do, either an adult that is extremely stressed out, or what's more common are your adolescents, your preteens.
So
hormonal teenagers.
Yes, I was going to say so poltergeist activity. You are connecting with almost a psychokinesis, telekinesis.
One of two things could happen. That's either telekinetic energy, or you're a catalyst. You're a channel,
right,
for something coming through. You're using your energy to bring that kind of activity about.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the differences. And
okay. Now I have to ask this in looking at that. In your EVPs, have you caught anything that doesn't qualify or classify in any of those?
Oh, that is a big question. Have I captured anything that's not a ghost, not a spirit, or...
Yes. Have you caught something that is real, quote unquote, but doesn't classify as a ghost, a spirit, a poltergeist, a residual? No. So nothing demonic. You've never caught anything that you would classify as demonic.
Never on film.
That way.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. But do you believe? No, it's fine. Wendy, quit stepping on my toes.
Hey, shut up, Travis. I'll step on your toes. There's a psychic step on your toe. I'll send my ghost dogs to bite you in the buttocks. Oh, see?
There they go. Who let the dogs out? Wendy did. To bite my buttocks. That's what happens.
They said it was $1 million wound.
Timing is everything.
I do steer toward, yes, the demonic. I do believe it does exist. Now, I'm not going to say everything is a demon. I'm a recovering Catholic. So
yes. Join the club with me. Yeah.
I went through the whole 9 yards, Catholic school, altar boy, all the fun stuff. Okay. And I did do one dark investigation, and I will never do another. And that is what I questioned myself over that for a long time. Had to sit down with a priest for quite a while, had some counseling sessions with him, because I was questioning my own sanity for one, and whether or not there was a heaven and hell for two. Mm-hmm. And with that, I've never captured anything like that, and that is a phenomenal question. I've never captured anything like that on tape, anything demonic or even alien, for that matter.
Well, I was going to get into the extraterrestrial alien thing a little bit, but go ahead.
With that demonic investigation, this is brings back some chilling memories, but I'm going to go ahead and share it because this is something people need to know, and I don't fabricate anything. I don't know how to lie. There's not enough time for it. There's just no time. With this this poor woman, she contacted. I had, of course, the investigation team back then, and she had this problem. She hadn't slept in her own bed in over 25 years.
Wow.
She's going to sleep in the chair in the living room. Her son, who kept a journal of this every single day, he wrote this occurrence down. Now, between the hours of 2 and 3 a.m., this woman was oppressed. She was trying to be possessed by some entity, she said. Mm-hmm. she had to take medication to go to sleep. Of course, red flag. What medication take? And the medication she was taking is a benzodiazepine called Klonopin.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't make you hallucinate or anything like that, but it is a sedative. It does calm the nerves.
Yes.
So she took this to sleep. That's the only way she could go to sleep at night. Now, she was sedated so heavily that obviously she couldn't see or feel this thing trying to enter her. But her son and her husband, they were off in their own room. The husband he slept in his own room. The whole family was oppressed by whatever was in this home. So she calls me and wants me to come take a look at it. I pull in. Oh my goodness. I walk in the home and the stench, and she was a clean freak. There were white glove would pass every test. Mm-hmm. But the smell in there was just stale, musty.
Grossness.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
It was just that. Mm-hmm. It was uneasy. And the feeling in there, it was a very unsettling feeling. And I'm talking to her, going through the client interview, asking her some questions and writing all this down, recording it. And I agreed to do this, but I wanted to do it. That was a stupid move on my part.
We live and learn, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have no problem sharing my mistakes here. And the first one was doing this by myself.
Yes.
Like an idiot. So I go in, and I stayed with her for 3 days. And I slept in the spare room when I did.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Now, okay, so I had the infamous Sony Hi8 video camera.
Yes.
State of the art, sitting there in the hallway by the door, pointing at her in the chair. And we're just talking normal. And I said, just do everything you naturally would. Just pretend I'm not here the best you can. So she's doing her thing and, gets the kitchen closed down for the night, sits down, pops on the television. She's sitting there watching TV. She takes her medicine and she starts to drift off. Now I'm filming this whole thing. So she starts to drift off. And then I'm just watching, just looking. She's out, the head falls all night. She's comfortable. And then I look at her, her nightgown, she's wearing. And I'm not kidding at all. There is movement right there in her chest, like her chest area. Mm-hmm. You see something, it's sinking in. And then all of a sudden, my camera, which is on a tripod, slides down that hallway and then falls.
Holy crap. Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, the tripod malfunction. I'm trying to sit there because I'm seeing this with my own eyes.
You're trying to rationalize. Mm-hmm.
Trying to rationalize it, exactly. Did she slip me some of this stuff? What the hell am I seeing?
Right.
So this goes and it's just over and over, and then it's gone. And then she just sits there, and then you'll hear the little, kind of like a little heavy breathing from her that she's disturbed somehow, and then it's done. Did it enter? Was it not able to enter? Was it going in there because she was sedated by this? All these things are going through my head. And my camera, of course, I get up to, pick it up, and it's still going. It's still going. Mm-hmm. But you can't see it.
Right.
You can't see it on the film because of the infrared. Mm-hmm. Now, her son comes out that next morning. Of course, I dozed off on the couch. Come on, I'm human. You're going to fall asleep when it's
eventually.
Quiet. Mm-hmm. So he comes out the next morning and asked if I had seen the little boy yet. And I said, no, I haven't seen any little boy. I did see something happen to your mother last night. And he says, okay, you saw it. So he agreed and brought out the journal that he had written where he had saw the same thing. And come to find out, so did her husband. That's why he locked himself in his room. He would not come out, this guy. He would go to work, come home, eat, go to right there in that room. He would live there. He was terrified to come out. So I go around the home, blessing it. Okay, I've got the holy water. I've got the holy oil, and I've got the good book in my hand, and I am ready to fight a demon like an idiot.
Poking the bear.
Like an idiot.
Yep.
So I'm down there quoting Psalm 99, doing the whole 9 yards. You know, the power of Christ compels. Of course, I didn't get that far. But I'm down there. You know, you. It's just the way you're trained to do the different openings, vents, windows. You know, you do the sign with the holy oil, blah blah blah.
Right.
So I'm down there in the basement, and I'm by the water heater, and I just feel so nauseous. I'm just and then finally I let go. I vomit. I just throw up everywhere down there.
Yeah.
So I go to the other side of the basement, and I'm on the downstroke of the cross, and all of a sudden, this little kid comes up, got like a Dutch boy haircut, looks just like a little kid.
Oh my God! Okay.
Had these little Oshkosh Bibi looking things on. You know, I'm thinking, hey kid, you know, I thought it was her grandkid or something that came to visit. So I'm just doing my thing. And then I go back up there after doing all of that, and that was the damn kid. This demon comes in the form of an innocent. That's normally how they come.
They do, yeah.
You know, because I'm just glancing. I don't think anything of it because there's toys down there. She's got a grandkid. You know, I'm thinking, okay, the grandkid's over. Yay. Maybe that'll cheer her up a little bit. I didn't think it was the little demon kid. You know.
Was he playing with the toys?
No, it just here, yeah, right next to me, and I see this kid, and that's exactly what it looked like. So to make a long story short, longer, go in there, get all the things done, and this house is pissed. You could just tell that it's really pissed off. Uh-huh. And then that's when I realized I really screwed up. My moronic self pulled this off, and I did not have enough faith for one thing to do it. Thought I did. You know, the ego is going to grab you. But I called in help. I made a phone call, and they did it properly. And to make it short, to put an ending on it, it was released. Now, when one of those is released from a building or area, it has to, number one, have a way to go out, so a window or door has to be open. Number two, it has to leave some kind of sign that it has exited, whether it be sulfur or what have you. This was chocolate. The entire house reeked of wonderful chocolate with this thing left. And
how rude.
How rude.
It's Willy Wonka and the Demon Factory.
But
somewhere the Hershey family is spinning in their grave.
Oh man,
stinking Oompa Loompas.
That's probably what it was. That little damn
weird,
undoubtedly
weird little people.
After that was done, to this day, as far as I know, she sleeps in her bed, and she used to send me a check every year for Christmas.
Oh,
because she sleeps in her bed, and everything is hunky dory in there now. And I mean, after I screwed it up and had somebody else clean up the mess, but that is so I do steer toward that way, and I'll never ever touch that again. Way out of my league. Been there.
Well, and for our viewers who don't know, and I think most of them probably know way more than I do, but viewers, listeners, whatever, when you're smudging your house as well, just to get rid of the tension and the darker energies, open a window at the top and start in the basement, work your way up, and it all releases that way.
Oh. Thank you for that advice. If not, you've got one hell of a ping pong game going on inside of there. They have nowhere to go.
Oh, you're just gonna really tick it off.
Oh. Those are things I don't touch, Wendy.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Yeah, that's
when you screw it up.
Most people don't do it on that level.
Just gonna stick with audio. It's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
No one dies. No one vomits.
Learn from Todd's mistakes.
Oh, God,
Exactly.
I don't mind sharing mistakes. Thank God, learn from them.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. But I mean, this field is about mistakes. It's trial and error. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's not. I mean, while there are people who write books about it, there's no textbook way to do anything.
No.
No.
There is no right way. There's no wrong way. There's a way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no instruction book.
No, there isn't.
There's no experts in the field. Whoever wrote my bio should be slapped.
I didn't write it. I read it.
I know.
Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, it's no, it's not.
But I mean, there are recognized, and that I use that in quotes because I'm in PR, and I spend, my thing was I used to get, if I could get any one media outlet to say one of my clients was an expert, that's all I needed. If NBC Toronto or CBC Toronto said, well, Todd Bates is an expert, and that's all I needed, because then I could say the recognized expert in the field because somebody said it. That's all you have. That's really all it takes. Is if somebody will say, if you have an objective third party that says you're an expert, that's all it takes.
Wow. That makes me feel a lot better, Travis.
There you go. There you go. That's all it takes, man. If I could get that, I was golden. They would write me a check if they could get somebody to say that they were an expert. It was great. It was awesome. But now I had a question going back to the demonic aspect, and this goes back to what we talked about with ghosts and spirits and poltergeists and things like that. Do demonic entities resonate at a different energy frequency?
I believe so. I believe they resonate at a frequency closer to ours.
Okay. The living or human? I mean,
the living.
Okay.
I think they are.
You have to be specific there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely the living. It's so hard to explain. They are their own life. They are their own entities, literally. And for them to give off that kind of vibration, because what they do is so distinct. It's so real. It's so real time. It's so now. It's even looking at them. The way they can shapeshift, they can transform, and they can make you physically ill. They can change your facial features, oppression. They can put you in different states. They can, change all of these features of your body, can go inside you and outside of you. A spirit, unless you're a great channeler, cannot work through you, cannot, without you allowing it to come in. It won't be able to manipulate a person like that. Like one of them can. And a lot of people don't believe in them, and it's a belief. I mean, I'm not saying it's like Santa Claus, for crying out loud, but it's a state. It's what you feel. Mm-hmm. Now, are there malevolent spirits out there that some can mistake for a demon? Absolutely. And vice versa. But once you encounter something like that, and I hope to God you never do, but if you encounter something like that, you'll know it. You will distinctly know the difference between a spirit, a ghost, and a demon. You'll know
right.
The difference. Yeah, I mean that's a great question.
Well, I do think that individuals who are just getting into the supernatural and the paranormal don't really understand the differentiation, and that can be dangerous. I mean,
Fair.
while there's no textbook and there's no right way and wrong way, yeah, there is kind of a wrong way. You don't. There are certain things you don't play with.
Mm-hmm. You have to know your limits, and if you're starting out in this field, read. For the love of everything holy, read. Don't just act. You act, you get hurt. Physically, mentally, Emotionally, this field can take you down. It can wreck you. You are dealing with forces that you can't see, you can't touch, and they will win every time. Mm-hmm. They are much more powerful than we are. They have manipulated the system enough to be here. Be careful what you wish for. Mm-hmm. For these provokers out there, get out of the field. Just leave. There's no place for a provoker. And I'll remember you when I cross, and I will come poke you with a stick. Don't worry, I will come back.
But I'm not talking into your recorder.
No. So you'll just get slapped in the face, and you won't know where it came from.
That's right.
Exactly.
We'll provoke you when we cross. That's how it's going. Yeah, there's just no place for that. There isn't. You have to be respectful. Respect is key in this field to get any kind of evidence, whether it be photography, video, audio, anything, or just any kind of presence. You have to respect. I mean, we all deserve respect. We all have our place. We all have our ups and downs and the way we like to be approached and things we don't like to talk about, things we do like to talk about. You just have to find that niche. Don't provoke. Oh, geez, that is unreal.
Yeah.
And you see so much of it these days, and I don't know why. Why would they think they're
some of the popular people on TV do it, and the idiots, think that's the right way.
They are production puppets, people.
Yes, they are.
They are
it's entertainment.
I mean, did you?
It is, but it goes beyond entertainment. It's sensationalism.
There you go.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yes.
I mean,
ratings. All about the ratings.
It is. I mean, I'm okay with entertainment. I mean, I like. I mean, hell, that's why we do this show. We do it for entertainment. We do it for education. We do it for enlightenment, edification. There's all those reasons. But when you get to the point where all that you're doing is trying to sensationalize something, I mean, there is a fine line between entertaining and sensationalizing.
True.
And I mean, the example I always use is, Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters. I watched that show when it first premiered. Uh-huh. And you would watch that show, and it was early on, it was about the relationship and the bond between Jason and Grant and the clients that they took. And then in about 2 seasons, it got to the point, and I know for a fact from producers at Sci-Fi, that if they weren't having something sensational happen, they were going to cancel the show. So every time you watch that show, they were capturing something, and that doesn't happen.
No.
I mean, you can go and you can go to the same quote unquote haunted location 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months and never capture anything. But these guys were capturing something every week. There was something. There were shadow people. There were people getting touched. There were cold spots. There were infrared temperature entities. There was always something. It's like that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Not in this field. There's one thing that you do get used to, and that's the crickets around you. You get to know them.
And rejection and poverty. Those are the 3 things you get used to. Rejection and poverty. Those are the 3 things that you get used to.
Yeah, that is a field that we know, definitely. But you're right. You're exactly right, Travis, and that's what's sad. The media, the way oh my goodness, what they've created a millennial world of what the hell just happened, people.
Yes.
Dude runs. There's definitely a no-no. And hopefully it's going to be corrected. I've seen it calm down, thank God. I left the field for 4 years because of it, and came back when it calmed. It is calming down, and it raised awareness, but it raised the wrong kind.
Right, exactly. Yeah, more ridicule than anything.
Yeah,
it did, and it brought this. There has to be ratings and numbers, and I made a statement several shows ago. My thing is, as I look into the unknown, and I don't even know if I want an answer, because if I get an answer, the mystery's taken out of life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think the mystery is what propels us. That constantly wanting, and that's what those shows started out doing, is showing we're looking. Well, it got to the point where, well, we don't want to sit and watch people look. We want to see people find. And that's where, entertainment and sensationalism blur the line. I honestly, do I ask the question, is there life after death? I hope there is.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to know.
No, no way to find out.
I really don't want to know. I hope there is. Do extraterrestrials? Do I think? Yeah, I think they exist. Do I think that they're little gray men? And I don't necessarily know that. Do I want to know? No, not really. I don't. I like it's that belief in something outside of me.
Bingo.
Whether you call it God, whether you call it karma, fate. Well, it's that belief that I am not the center of the universe, even though there are days I want to think I am, even though there are times when, hell, I know I am. I just want to believe in something bigger than that.
More true words were never spoken. Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said.
I said something true?
Yes.
Well, something ironic as well, because, when you said that there were days you knew that you were the center of the universe, said, you can call me and I will help you with that.
Notice you picked that up.
Oh, I know. Damn it. When I said I was speaking in the greater humanity sense of the word.
Oh, okay,
it's not
okay.
Yeah, no. But I do think that we as humans, we crave, we don't want to think that we're the end all be all.
Right.
We don't. Whether we believe in God or aliens or something, we want to know that there is something bigger at work than this, because if this is all there is, hell, I may take a bunch of Klonopin and just go sit in the shower and just drift off. I mean,
footsteps above me in the shower.
Exactly. I mean,
to go back there.
I mean, there has to be something bigger, better. There has to be a plan.
Yes.
And if that plan is, ancient aliens and ancient astronauts, okay, fine. If that greater plan is God, old man, white beard, Roman Catholic, yeah, he was okay with it, fine. But that we want to believe in something that is bigger than us, but in that being bigger, it unites us. It makes us a better humanity than
Absolutely.
what we could be just existing on our own.
If you think about it, and you said that you hit the nail on the head, and I hope everyone listening understands that as well. That there is, there has to be something greater than you. There has to be. What animates you? What makes you tick? I know the brain. You can get all scientific. The brain sends signals and makes your arm move or your eye. No, something has to animate us. Something out there has to. Whether it be in the spirit realm, the universal realm, interstellar, who knows? And yeah, nobody's in a hurry to find out. And when we do, we're going to go over there. We're probably going to slap ourselves on the forehead going, "You're kidding me. It was that simple."
Exactly. Oi!
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Something has to be the driver.
Right.
Absolutely. That's what this field's about. And if we had all the answers, which we're not supposed to, and in all honesty, we're not going to find those.
No,
we're
not until it's the end and it's too late.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's what this field is about. It's about the quest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, it's about seeking, searching, the journey. Hell, we may not reach the end. That's fine. It's like the road trip that never ends. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bunch of friends. It's a bunch of it's a bunch of friends in a VW with road snacks and endless alcohol and smoke, and you're just on a road trip. and we're moving. Hell, we're going. We got a map, but there's countless number of roads you can take to get to the end destination, and let's just enjoy them all. Let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and that is the research. That is this field. That is exactly what it is a map without a red X.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to find the hidden treasure, but you have very, very, very few clues, and we're always coming up with more questions and answers. I don't know,
and that is perfect as far as I'm concerned, because the more questions, the more you get to ask, the more road trip you get to take.
Yep.
And that's what I love about it. I don't want an answer. I don't.
Not to that question. No.
And doing this all these years, I don't either. Mm-hmm. Because then, okay, everybody pack up, let's go. Because, when my life is on its last leg, or I'm laying on my dying bed, I can sit there and go, okay, now I've spent a great deal of my life researching this, capturing this, hearing this, seeing this, and I'm about ready to go myself. I feel I'm going to be more at peace because of that journey.
Yes.
And I'm going to be able to cross and hopefully figure out a way to let everybody know. I'm not saying maybe I don't know, but that's the thing. That is the end all be all. Mm-hmm. Is there you are laying on your deathbed. You've done this research a long part of your life. You've discovered the end of an ending. You don't know what's going to happen, but you're more at peace. I don't think I'm going to be as afraid to cross there's going to be some fight or flight survival instinct kick in, I'm sure. Everybody wants to live, but I don't think I'm going to be as afraid to cross.
Right.
Because I don't want to be a ghost. I want to be a spirit.
Exactly. And if I could come back as a distilled spirit, I'd be even better.
Cheers. I'll meet you there. Yeah, that's got to be one thing. Yeah, one thing in heaven. There's no rehabs, so we should be all right. Everybody can control they know their limits.
Yes. My name is Travis. It's been 2 millennia. Oh God damn!
It's been 2 millennia.
God zaps you with a lightning bolt. I told you about that.
Sorry. Oh, well, I do enjoy having conversations with people that aren't. For a community that stresses itself for being open-minded, there's a lot of closed-minded people in the paranormal community.
Is there ever?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, there's only one thing. There's orbs. No, there's not. There's dust particles reflecting light.
And dust.
Don't you people ever dust here?
Have you ever heard of pledge? No. But
it is a rarity.
It is so close-minded, but it's so, and that's one of the things that we do love about our show, is that we do try to foster this open-mindedness. Come on, we're going to make fun of everyone.
Absolutely. Especially if it kind of scares us, we're going to make double fun of it.
and we're going to make fun of the things that we believe in, because it is that, we don't know. We don't know.
We just don't know. Yeah.
It's like, the endings of all the Men in Black movies where it's like, there's the universe inside the locker room, and it's like it could be any or all of those. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
That's a great way to put it. That is a great way to put it.
I know that we're here. I know that we're existing. Is there life anywhere else? I really want to think that there is. is there life after death? Yeah, I want to think that there is, because I don't want to think that the people that I love just cease to exist and go into nothingness. That to me is very depressing. Now, that does not mean I have to believe and adhere to any one form of religion. I just want to believe that there is something beyond this. That we go to something. We go to something. We go to something bigger. We go to something better, or maybe smaller. I don't know. Maybe you don't have to have top billing. Maybe it's not bigger and better. Maybe it's just everybody lives in a single wide trailer out in the field. I don't know, but but there's something.
No, and you're right. You're right. There's something out there, and that's the drive. That's the drive, and. And I'll be the first to admit at the beginning, you wanted these answers. I wanted to figure out why I heard that with the recorder, but not my naked ear. And then it got to the point of obsession. Then things got ridiculous. Then mistakes were made. So what I've learned is to slow the hell down.
Right.
Because quit trying to find something you're never going to find. Just enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Enjoy the ride. Yeah, definitely.
It's the Gnostic journey. It's all about the journey. It's not even so much about the destination. It literally is the whole, road trip kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the New Testament that way, it's a totally different kind of read.
Oh, he just went there, guys. Yeah.
He did. He feels duty bound somehow. I don't know.
It really is. I mean, if you just
threw in the good book, I love it.
Hang on, I got to hit the mute button.
My feet are on fire.
It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Bible. I mean, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great road trip.
You have to remember, Travis, that the way you learned the Bible and the way those of us raised Catholic,
that's true,
were taught the Bible or read the Bible. Yeah, there are differences that can be a little, make you go, really?
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. that is very, very true. I used to make the joke all the time, because my ex-wife was Catholic, I was Baptist. We would go to Mass on Sunday morning, and there would be, we would have the missals, and I'm like, there weren't always enough to go around. I said, you know what? In Cuban Catholic churches, if there aren't enough to go around, is it a Cuban Missile Crisis?
Woo!
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. The priest really didn't like that very much. Well, one of them didn't. The other one thought it was hilarious. He showed up at my house with a bottle of scotch and said, "Let's talk."
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
recovering Catholic.
Yes, we can have this conversation.
Exactly.
We can talk this. Oh, now I have to ask Todd. We've talked about ghosts and spirits and things like that. Let's talk very quickly as we're winding down the show about the belief in extraterrestrial life, because you mentioned that very early on. Have you had seen or have evidence of, either in EVP or photographic video evidence, and what's your stance?
Boy, I wish. My stance on that is
shut up and don't ask me those questions, Travis.
Not at all. No way, because I try to keep an open mind about everything, whether it be cryptozoology, UFO, aliens, abductions. My mind is open. Mm-hmm. If somebody reports it, I want to hear about it. And do I believe that there's life elsewhere? Yes. The vastness of space is massive. It's just something we can't even. It's so huge we can't even think of that kind of huge. So there has to be something somewhere. I mean, we just didn't appear. Right. I don't feel we just appeared with this big bang thing, because what made the bang to begin with? So I mean, you can just sit there and go on this loop over and over and over and over. But do I feel that there's an alien invasion coming? Do I feel that aliens are among us? I try not to get that deep into it.
So we shouldn't build a wall.
Yeah, we did. It's all made of hairspray in the ozone layer. Wouldn't even come near. Yeah, they call it global warming. Sure, yeah, but it's something. It's a barrier. But I just, as far as aliens living on the moon, no, I don't think it's that simple. I think it's something way out in the outer realms, the different barriers of time itself. It's something we can't even think of. It's because space it has to be huge. It has to be, because light can't even go all the way across. It's massive. So there has to be something else out there. Now, UFOs, I've never seen one. I'd love to. I've been to places where they've been reported, and I've had guys come and write down the license plate number when we're there. The government, are they covering up? Did Roswell, did that really happen? That's a possibility. I mean, too many people have come forward. Military personnel, people are waking up. It's going to be probably another 20 years, and I think all these conspiracies are going to start coming to light. The Kennedy assassination. Someone's going to find Hoffa. The Roswell aliens, they're going to go, okay, look, we've held this as long as we could. You guys are getting better. The technology that we created from this crash has become so advanced that it ratted us out. So here you go.
It turned on us. Yeah.
We're creating our own demise here. We don't want to know, but yet we want to know. And once we find out, one of two things is going to happen: complete and utter chaos, or it's going to be, okay. It's going to be accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not going to be a little gray area, no pun intended.
50 grays in the shade.
50 grays in the shade. There's just so many different reports of it. The whole extraterrestrial, and do the two go hand in hand? That's possible. Are we from some other planet? Are we being harvested here like ants in a farm? Possible. Who knows? When we pass, we're going to find out. We're going to go, oh man, really? That's what's going to happen. I just think that it's bigger than any one of us can imagine.
The possibilities are endless.
Yes. What about video footage of UFOs? Have you examined video footage?
Well, I don't specialize in it, but I have watched a lot. And with video, and what I'm seeing these days, I don't know if you guys are seeing. I mean, these people, some people follow a Facebook wall like it's CNN.
Yes.
Folks, the spinning globe that you're seeing, oh my God, check this out. I can't believe it. I just got this from my neighbor. No, your neighbor just got it from someone that faked the hell out of it.
Yes.
It's not real, and if you look close enough, you will see that is an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yes.
It's not a UFO, folks. I mean, and it's the obvious. And why are people still duped from that? Is because those are so fake and so obvious that people are not taking the time anymore to recognize the obvious, which is that. A Star Destroyer and planet Earth spinning around. That is not real. And UFO footage, there is some. Now, the ones that I find credible and the ones that I feel are genuine, and I know these days you can put that effect in there, but you can also tell when that effect's put in there. And that's the old 8mm grainy film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, those recorded differently than what our cameras do digitally today. Same difference with film. It's the concept of how they're captured, and you can tell. You have for example, the old Patterson film with Bigfoot walking across the creek. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm still on the fence about that. Now, I've talked to people that definitely feel that they have proven that film to be credible. It is right. The muscle movement, everything in there is correct. And then I've actually talked to the individual that has the suit
that was supposedly
used.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But, and for me, the Patterson film, and I walk the line. That one, I'm like, I don't know. But here's what I know, is that film of the supposed Bigfoot came out the same year as Planet of the Apes. And if you look at that suit, and you look at the suits that were used by Hollywood in Planet of the Apes, there's a huge freaking difference.
Pretty big difference.
Mm-hmm. Huge difference. And so you're going to tell me that some amateurs in BFE, Arkansas, Mississippi did that?
Ooh, you sure got a pretty mouth. Mm-hmm.
They were able to pull that off. And Hollywood, and we got Roddy McDowell talking, and his mouth is moving, 30 seconds behind the words he's saying.
Right.
In Planet of the Apes. Special effects wise,
it's tough.
It's tough. It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Because you have the muscle movement. And it's hard to really dig in there and analyze it because it's hard to find the original. Now, anybody can slap original on the thing because it looks original because of the grain. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to have the original film itself, and people have analyzed the hell out of it and still come up with
question mark.
A big question mark. Absolutely. Because it's humanoid, because they can see the muscles flex. They can see, the way the neck moves. If it was in a suit, it wouldn't be able to move as freely. There's so many. And then you have the other side coming in. Well, since it moved freely, it has to be a suit because this suit was designed blah, blah, blah. So, you're just going to go back and forth. You're playing tennis. And it's one of those things where you throw it out there. What do you think? And again, when we cross, hey, how you doing there, Sasquatch? It's right there next to him. These are the things. And the same thing with the UFO. The same thing with the certain ghost footage. You had the apparition on the stairs, the infamous photo of the apparition on the stairs. Mm-hmm. That is hard to debunk. Because you have the perfect setting, the lighting, there's no reflections, there's nothing in there. And plus, it's film, which adds credibility. These are things that make this feel tough. And again, a journey.
Exactly.
You're constantly seeing, and there's new ones coming in all the time. But people, please learn to differentiate between what is crap and what is possibly genuine. And please stop sending me the spinning globe with the damn starfish.
Exactly.
Check this out. Share this with as many people as you can. They're here. No. They're
not. We're barely here, and they are not.
No.
And we might not be much longer.
Well, part of what gets me, I would love to believe in all of the cryptozoology, critters, but there aren't any, burials there. You don't find the skeletons, the bones from the dead. What? Are they immortal? Do they just disintegrate on impact? Bones will last a long time, even with other critters gnawing on them. You're going to find something somewhere, in my estimation.
You are correct. Absolutely. And, that's where you get the other theory where they're interdimensional.
Right.
Yeah, they fly back and forth. Now, there's one creature that was thought to be a myth forever, the giant squid.
Yes.
Right.
Didn't
but then
exist.
Up they jump.
Bingo. Here they are. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm waiting to see, is somebody net a Bigfoot. I'm not saying to hurt it, to harm it. People say they've been almost stoned to death by these creatures. They've been raped by these creatures.
Right.
God,
and others are their plant eaters, the gentle giants. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
But my comment was going to be, with the giant squid, at least I know I can drink sake. What do I drink with Bigfoot?
Bigfoot likes whiskey. Bigfoot likes whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, read Eric Asher's books.
in all honesty, with the Bigfoot thing, this is no joke. And there's a certain researcher out there. I don't want to mention his name. I don't want to give away his trick.
Okay.
But he is a Bigfoot researcher and die hard. And guess what he attracts them with?
Moonshine.
Pancakes.
What?
Pancakes.
He told me there was now this. He asked one of my producers and I to go on this expedition with him to do this, and we weren't able to go. But what had happened? This little old woman that lived in the woods. Yeah, it almost starts out with once upon a time.
In a candy house.
In a candy house. She laid out pancakes, and the Bigfoot would come eat them. So this is what this researcher was going to use on a program for Discovery Channel to capture Bigfoot. Was pancakes and maple syrup.
Was this in Vermont?
It was actually in Paris, Texas. This was going.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that explains so much.
So I don't. There's no Bigfoot, and I haven't heard anything from Mrs. Butterworth either. So apparently it didn't work.
Question from the chat room. Todd, do you think that alien appearances are really demonic tricks?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm. That's from our astrologer and incredibly
Casey Terra?
Smart one. Yep, Cindy.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Cindy.
That is very possible. It very well could be, because I feel, and I have no problem admitting it, I feel that they are shapeshifters like that. Mm-hmm. They could look like you and I. They could. It's very possible they could look like aliens. They could probably form one of these things or influence us in some way that we believe that's what we're seeing. Who knows? Right. Mm-hmm. Who knows? That is a force to be reckoned with, and it reeks. And I don't want to go near it.
So there.
That's a great question, and I think it's very possible.
Well, I think some of our other guests, Bill Bean, L.A. Marzulli, would definitely fall in line with the fact that the manipulation of our minds towards an end game for, and even Nick Redfern, for a conspiratorial purpose, a new world order, etc., that the possibility of UFOs and aliens could be a demonic manifestation, demonic presence. Mm. I don't think all of them are. I do think that they can play that. I mean, I think demons are, they're wily bastards, quite frankly. I mean, they'll jump onto whatever bandwagon happens to be prominent at the time. I mean, they're like, oh, look.
And you have your angelics as well.
Exactly.
If you have any, to have something bad, you have to have something good. Mm-hmm. To have something evil, you have to have something good. Heaven, hell concept. I don't know if there's like a realm for that, or if it's just a space somewhere. I don't know if they're separated. We don't know. Mm-hmm. They could be all coexisting on the same plane, and it's just a mixture between angels, demons, good, bad, as we know it, as we've been taught, raised.
And our concept of good and bad is based on mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like, okay, because I got into this conversation just about a month ago. I don't know if anybody watches the Exorcist TV series on Fox. Amazing TV series, and I'm really trying to keep it renewed because my daughter loves it. It's one of the things that she and I use to bond. But they do I know it messed up, but they do an amazing job because and it brought out this one question in the very first season, and I'm like, wow, never really thought about that, because demons are at their essence what?
Energy.
Well, okay, but on a religious
evil incarnate.
But even on a more basic, they are fallen
angels.
Angels.
Mm-hmm.
Does God hate demons?
Apparently not. He doesn't hate.
Exactly. And so God does not hate. Demons are fallen angels, and an exorcism is a very, very violent rite.
Yes.
It is expelling. It is expelling the bad, expelling the hate. And they actually take that up in the very first season, so that one of the exorcists actually trains to love and forgive fallen angels. And welcome them back to heaven. And I sat there for a very long time going, this makes me question everything that I've ever known. Because we view demons as evil, we view them as bad, but we view them through our reality.
Correct.
We're not looking at them through their reality. And I keep going back to Paradise Lost, which is one of my favorite. God, it was one of my favorite readings when I was in college, and even did a whole.
That is phenomenal series.
Yes, yeah, and I did a whole senior paper on Paradise Lost. It really did turn everything. It is better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Well, yeah, probably. If you look at it that way. So it's viewing everything from a different perspective. And if you do that, then you look at these demons who are just going, we just want to be loved again. We were the top of the hierarchy, and then all of a sudden, you flesh pots came along, and he loved you better.
And you raised a great point. There's a couple people that I've interviewed. Don Castile is one of them. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I definitely want to correct myself, because it's the unknown. I'm ignorant when it comes to the demonic field, and I'll be the first to admit it. Now, what she does is uses those entities almost like a contract.
Oh, that was the guest the other night, wasn't it?
There was two of them. You had Akelta Wild and Dawn DeCastile. They're both phenomenal, and they're great people. Now they use the lower vibrations that the demons, like what I came across. They would educate me and say that was a very malevolent, pissed off spirit. Very possible. Very possible. I don't know. I don't want to know. Whatever it is, it's on yay. But what they do, they actually use the lower end vibrations or fallen angels like that to assist a homeowner in ridding whatever's in the home. Almost like contract hitmen for the malevolent spirit world. They bring them in, expunge, and then the homeowner's happy. Now, some of the homeowners, according to them, know that they're using the low end vibrations to help them, and some don't, depending on their religious beliefs and so forth. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I definitely stand corrected there.
Well, I think it is. Again, I think there's a lot that we don't understand, we don't know. But I think we want to. And I think that is what, at the end of everything, makes us, it really does define our humanity. We want to understand. We want to know. And we really don't want to be the only thing at the end of the day. I don't want to be sitting in a cave, in a hotel room, in an apartment, in a house, by myself going, there is nothing outside these four walls.
Exactly.
There has to be a greater community. Whether it's real, supernatural, paranormal, there's a greater community.
I don't know which sect or whatever it is, but the one that believes that that we are living in a dreamland right now, and after we die in this life, then we wake in that life. That's a different spin on it too. I'm not sure how to take it exactly.
Yeah, and then you have the Jehovah that feel we're in hell now.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
There are days. But there are days that it does feel like that. I mean.
Then you have the Scientologists. I'm here in Florida, in Clearwater.
Yes.
Son of a Mary Mother. I don't understand. I don't want to know. And I'm not saying what they do is wrong. All I'm saying is
You don't understand. You don't understand. I mean, it's like, it's like the Mormons. It's like the Mormons. It's like, what?
How many wives? Come again?
What?
Sister,
why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. You want how many? I had one. That was enough. No.
Come on, I've got 5 houses here.
Exactly. It's like, no.
Yeah, these are things that are out there, and all of that is strange and bizarre. It's all unknown. You know, why they do that. Why these different, we just can't seem to be human anymore. We have to have some kind of belief system to exist.
Right.
Now, I don't think the cavemen believed, back in the day when we first came about. I think they woke up, I'm hungry, eat. Okay, done. Day over.
Exactly.
Sleep, fornicate more. Okay, same, simple. They kept it simple. Look how much we've complicated.
Can we go back to simple?
Can we go back to that? I would love that. Now, sure, we may be a little bit more sophisticated cavemen kind of society.
Maybe.
But that would make life so much more, I think, fulfilling than what it is now, because it's one giant rat race. People don't even look up from their smartphones anymore to see what reality even is. It's tough.
I'm sorry, I was texting right there. What did you say?
And that's today's paranormal field. That's exactly what it is.
I remember right after, no, I mean, here's the thing. We are searching for paranormal and supernatural answers, but we won't even look at the human aspect. Mm-hmm. We won't even talk to each other, but we want to talk to ghosts. I will be willing to ask a ghost a question, wanting them to answer me. And this is the God's honest truth. After my divorce, I sat with a girl. We went out to drink, we went out to eat, we watched movies in her house. She never talked to me, not one time. This was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. She sat and texted me.
Oh my God.
I was sitting at the end of her couch. She was sitting at one end. We were watching a movie together, and she was texting me, "You liking the movie?" And I just looked at her because I am an asshole.
I have testimonials. He's an expert asshole.
He is. I just looked at her, and then she's like, and then she texted me, "Is it comfortable down there on your end of the couch?"
Oh my God.
And I said, "No, it would be more comfortable up there with you, but I'm down here, and you're texting me."
You should have texted back, kindly remove your clothing.
I should have.
Is your shirt off yet?
I know. This is foreplay. Millennial foreplay.
And like, again, there's the paranormal field.
It's like Pong. It's like, you have to have the joggle just right. Bong, bong, bong. Bong, 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 bong. Oh, damn, she put it back on. Oh, wait, it doesn't work that way.
You're 100% right. I mean, seriously, when I got into this field, these things weren't around. These smartphones, the texting, the MySpace wasn't even invented yet. People talked. People collaborated.
Yes, they said hello. They shook hands.
We would call another researcher on the phone and share ideas. It wasn't,
no way.
What? There was interaction?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Off the show, you're never invited back. We don't talk to people. No.
There was so much interaction because you didn't have a choice. You couldn't just pop online or shoot a text or, hey, check out this latest video. You didn't have that kind of easeability. You had good old-fashioned common sense and a rotary dial phone.
And I'm gonna mail you my VHS, look at it, and then call me and tell me what you think.
Yep. I'll hold.
Exactly. And by the way, the red light on my phone in my room is not blinking, so nobody has called me.
And don't call me between 8 and 10 a.m. because that's when I'm checking my email.
That's when you're trying to connect.
Right.
It's AOL online. You're trying to connect.
And if you think about it, that is when we had some of the biggest breakthroughs in this field. Is back then when we had to talk, we had to share things like that, and they were saved, and they still are saved. They're archived on tape. Yes. Believe it or not, they're not digitalized somewhere. They're on tape still. Yes. So these are things that we haven't even figured out yet. So we don't need to take advantage of the technology. Don't go out there and get all haywire and spend thousands and thousands on all this equipment. Well, use your head.
Yeah, well, and I will give this very, very simple but very poignant example. Here at the radio stations that I manage, most of what I have done has been digital. Every file that I have created, anything that has come in, copy, creative scripts, commercials, everything, I've just saved it to a flash drive. Well, back in the summer, and Wendy knows this, back in the summer, this was in the time span of about 15 minutes. I got up, I left my desk, I went to the bathroom, got a cup of coffee, came back, and my entire workstation had been compromised by it wasn't malware, it was ransomware.
Yeah.
Oh, everything. My computer, my hard drive, and my flash drive. Because my flash drive was still plugged into my computer. Everything. So they were wanting, and I immediately disconnected the computer from the network, called our IT, they showed up. He's like, "Do you want to pay?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm not going to pay."
And we're scrapping the hard drive and starting over.
And that's exactly what it is. But I lost at that point 18 months of files because I didn't back them up. Now, that happened in June. Since June, I have recreated my digital files. I have kept hard copy files, but we have gotten lazy. We think that this age is better, and it is in many ways, but in many ways it cripples us. I literally, for about 90 days, I didn't know what I was doing. I kept walking up to the office manager going, "Can you print out for me what they did last month? Can you do this? Can you do that?" And she could, because she had done,
backups and things.
Yeah, it didn't corrupt her. My computer was the only one that got corrupted. And I lost everything. I lost my files. I lost my flash drive. I lost my hard drive. I lost everything. And it really is one of those things. There are advantages to the digital age, but there are a lot of drawbacks that people don't think about.
Absolutely.
If you are using a cloud and you're putting, if that cloud goes, you lose everything. Everything. Images, audio, you lose it all.
Here's another example for that, too. Now, I do work for Fate Magazine as well. And Phyllis gave me this box of zip drives back in the day, the old zip drives. You throw them in the... They hold like a few megabytes of information on there. Now, this is a whole box that has 25 years of issues on it. Articles, images on these zip drives. Now, my job was to convert them to digital. Now, this box is a very large box, and I converted each and every one. I've got a zip drive reader. I put it in there, put it right on to a thumb drive. Now, with 25 years of articles, issues, that came out to 1 gigabyte. One. Now, those of you that are computer savvy, you have 1 gigabyte on a very tiny thumb drive. Now, that thumb drive, just like what happened to you, Travis, can be compromised. You can lose it. You can't lose an entire box of zip drives. You can't lose
Even
it.
if you try.
They're there, and they've been there for 25 years, and they still read. So I'm just trying to put that in perspective like you did, and on how technology is crazy. You've got the huge box, and then you have the little tiny thing you can hold in your hand. In the palm of your hand, you can hold 25 years of material. That's crazy. It's insane on how technology. Don't get too caught up with it, because as you could see, the zip drives still work. We're still able to put them into a reader. Sure, you have to buy the reader,
Right.
but you're still able to put it in there. Now, the zip drive, it's unstable. It's great. It's convenient if you can hang on to it. Maybe, super glue it to a wall somewhere. But what if you lose it or it gets eaten by a virus? Absolutely.
Yep.
The little things.
It is. I mean, it's like I never one time thought that flash drive would be stripped, but it. I mean, it has nothing on. Now, I have another flash drive that has everything that I have worked on for the past 30 years. Clients, independent consulting, everything. Not the radio station, but all the other clients. It's all there for the past 30 years. The radio station, past 2 years, gone. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Yep. Because that one flash drive was what was plugged in.
And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. It is a nightmare. Because when you trust digital, it's great. I mean, it really is. I mean, it works well. But when it goes bad, it goes bad like an ice age. I mean, it's just kind of like
freezing cold.
Everything goes into extinction. There is nothing. You lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not
back on.
Not cool. Yeah, not cool at all.
Frozen. If it's
Frozen.
Age. Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Yeah, I could break into Elsa's song. Let it go.
Yeah. Well, guys.
Yes.
Cindy says thanks for the answer to her question.
Oh, you are most welcome.
We actually answered a question?
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while.
I forgot.
Oh, goodness.
It's not that I have dementia. I got sucked into a dementia. And I didn't.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Todd, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You guys are outstanding. Thank you so much for having me. What a great time. Learned a lot too. We all
that may be bad, but we loved having you on the show. Want to have you back on.
Absolutely.
We want to continue the dialogue and continue where we're going. I don't know where we're going. It's the journey, not the destination.
Absolutely. You name it, I'll be there. You name it, I'll be there.
Oh, sorry. Answering in the chat room.
Oh, the peanut gallery needs to go to bed. It's like 11:40.
I think maybe they did, and then they're just now coming back and going, oh, no. Good thing it records. Okay, well, I'm pretty much think we've reached the end of this show. Thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Todd, so much. This has been fun, quite fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good talking to you.
Same here, anytime.
Mm-hmm. And what's a good way for people to get a hold of you if they're looking? I know you've got shows on Let's Talk Radio, Haunted Voices,
sure.
And
yeah, they can. You can do one of two things. You can go to the website letstalkradio.net. I got Haunted Voices Radio Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern, Fate Radio Friday nights at 9 Eastern. You can email me, Todd Bates at letstalkradio.net. It's not .com. Some Chinese guy has that. It's .net.
Okay.
So just remember that. He's holding that ransom. Too. But yeah, the Todd Bates at letstalkradio.net. You can just go to the website as well. It's probably the easiest way to contact.
Now, if you go to Google his name, Todd Bates, you actually come up with some athlete from...
Yes.
Yeah.
Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama,
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
He is.
I was disappointed that we were interviewing you tonight. I thought,
Yeah, I'm a close second. Yeah, to narrow down the search, just type Todd Bates EVP.
Yes,
that should narrow it down quite a bit. Not MVP.
EVP. Yeah, that was the second problem that I had. MV. Oh wow. Okay.
Wait, he's got a tan. Yeah.
Well, you are in Florida, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
One just never knows for sure.
Don't know till you ask.
Alter ego Todd.
Yeah, I want that guy. I want that guy's bank account.
Yeah, no doubt.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The professional athlete versus the professional paranormal investigator bank accounts really don't balance out.
Balance? What's that?
Exactly. Oh.
Well,
Good times.
hopefully the broadcasting makes a little more money than nothing.
Yeah, we're hoping. It's always a slow run.
It's always, regardless, broadcasting always has a slow return on investment.
Amen. You know as well as anybody else, Travis.
Yes, I do. Oh my God! Thank you so much for being on the show. We want to have you back, Wendy. What song is taking us out tonight?
I think we'll play. How about "Killing the Blues" by Brickfields?
That works for me.
All right, and hang on, Todd, and we'll talk to you just a little bit here after show talk. And good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week with whatever guest we come up.
Leaves were falling like embers, colors red and gold, they set us on fire, burning just like a moonbeam in our eyes. Somebody said they saw me swinging the world by the tail, bouncing over a white cloud, killing the blues. Well, I'm guilty of something I hope you never do, because there is nothing sadder than to lose yourself in love. Somebody said they saw me swinging the world by the tail, bouncing over a white cloud, killing the blues. Somebody said they saw me swinging the world by the tail, bouncing over a white cloud, killing the blues. Now you ask me to leave here and go out on my own and find myself something
Thank you for joining us tonight. You've been listening to Mystic Moon Cafe. Join us every Wednesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. On behalf of Wendy Schindler, this is Travis Short saying have a great rest of your week.
And that's all, folks.